discussing lately? We had been discussing about knowledge representation, and we had discussed that basically whenever we are designing any AI system, the basic of it is knowledge representation. Now, whenever we represent our knowledge, there are going to be several issues. These issues also we have discussed, and then we had focused on converting these facts to predicates. So we have seen certain examples how we can convert our facts to predicates, that is a proper representation, and then these predicates can be further manipulated and processed so that we can infer new knowledge and we can get the answer of questions, the queries we are going to ask. Okay, for performing this there are two methods as we have discussed earlier. The first one is called chaining and the second one is called resolution. Okay, so as we had discussed earlier, in chaining there are two methods possible. The first is forward chaining and the second is backward chaining. We have seen examples only of backward chaining. After finishing this unit, we'll revise and we'll see the example of forward chaining, as it is not asked in papers, neither referred anywhere, and it is very basic and not used much. We have not seen example of forward chaining. We'll be discussing as we will be at the end of this unit. So backward chaining we have already understood how we can apply backward chaining. We can start from the goal and we can go back and provide the proof of whatever question has been raised or whatever information we need to infer. Now resolution. So that is what we are going to discuss today. How we are going to apply resolution. So for applying resolution, first of all what we have to do is convert facts to predicates. That is what we have already done earlier. So the first step is convert facts to predicates. Then what we are going to do next, after converting facts to predicates, we have to convert this to CNF form, that is also called closed form. Okay, so what is CNF form? Conjunctive normal form. Okay, so AND operation is called conjunction and OR operation is called disjunction. Okay, this is conjunction, this is disjunction. So conjunctive normal form. Conjunctive normal form is a form which is more generalized and using which it is more easy to infer the answers or manipulate the fact based, knowledge base we have. After converting predicates to CNF form, the third step is we will identify whatever goal we have. Let us say we have a goal called as P, or we have a question that we want to ask as P. Then what we are going to do? We are going to first of all negate P and then convert P again to conjunctive normal form. Okay, why to negate we'll see just after this. And after this we are going to apply resolution. Okay, so what is resolution process? Don't worry, this will be very clear as we are again going to solve many examples for this. So what is basically resolution? Resolution is whenever you have to prove something. For example, if I'll tell you today is Tuesday, and if you have to prove, suppose you have to apply backward chaining, what you will do? You will take this as goal and supporting the facts you will try to prove it is true. Okay, so backward chaining. But what is resolution? Resolution is proving something by negation, refutation. So what you are going to do, if you have to prove today is Tuesday, you will try to prove this, that today is not Tuesday. And ultimately by supporting facts, you will reach over here as null. What is meaning of this null? The meaning of null is we don't have any fact available which is going to prove this. We don't have any fact available which is going to provide proof for whatever question we have raised, and hence the reverse of this is true. So my fact is not going to support this, and hence later I am going to comment that the reverse of this, that is today is not Tuesday, is false and today is Tuesday is true. So that is called resolution. Okay, now for applying resolution, what is important? We have already practiced this properly. So we are going to focus on converting predicates to CNF form. Now for converting predicates to CNF form, there are total 9 steps that you have to apply. So today we are going to discuss these steps in detail, and it is very, very necessary to understand it properly. Then only you will be able to apply it. In GTO question paper, once or twice it has been asked that explain the steps of converting predicates to conjunctive normal form in detail with example. So if that kind of theory question is asked, then also you have to explain all the 9 steps properly. So focus here properly. I am going to take one generalized statement and we are going to apply all these 9 steps on it. So the statement says all Romans who know Marcus, all Romans who know Marcus either hate Caesar or think that anyone who hates someone is crazy. Okay, fine. Now let us try to understand what this statement says. This statement says all Romans who know Marcus. The first thing is all Romans who know Marcus. So knows Romans comma Marcus. Okay, so Roman will have for all. So one first predicate we are going to make is for Romans. For all Roman X. Then knows X comma Marcus. Okay. Either, it implies either hates Caesar, means hate X comma Caesar, or thinks that, see this is complicated, or thinks that anyone who hates someone is crazy. Now see, when you use this term anyone, it indicates for all, but when you use this term someone is not generalization. Someone is that you are trying to talk about a specific instance, and hence wherever you use the term someone, their exist quantifier should be used. So let us try to write this first of all in predicate form. So first of all, we'll start from the beginning, all Romans. Okay. So for all X, Roman X. Okay. And X is Roman and knows, X knows Marcus. So knows X comma Marcus. If this is true, then what we are going to do? If this is true, then okay, Marcus then either hates Caesar. So the next predicate which we are going to write is hates X comma Caesar, or, okay, so now this is or. Now in or what we are going to write? Okay, or is complicated. Or things, okay, things, okay. So or thinks that anyone who hates someone is crazy. So when anyone hates someone, then X is going to think it is crazy. So how we are going to process this over here? That X is thinking that Y is crazy. X thinks, X who is Roman is thinking that whoever is hating is crazy, right? So here for hates we are using anyone and someone. So for anyone we are going to use Y, and for someone we are going to use Z. Are you getting what I am trying to say? So anyone over here indicates someone who is going to hate, and Z indicates the person who is going to be hated. Okay, see, X is different over here. X is Roman who is thinking, but Y is a person, different person who is going to hate Z. Are you getting the complexity over here? All Romans who know Marcus either hate Caesar or think. So X is thinking. Here the think process is done by X. What the X is thinking? X is thinking that if Y is anyone, and if Y is hating some person Z, then X thinks Y is crazy. So again we need quantifier in this next term. So which quantifiers? Any means generalization. So for all Y, someone means there exists Z, Okay, now who is hating whom? Y. This Y will be hating Z. So hates Y comma Z. When this is true, then it implies, if this is true, then only things will happen. So who is going to think? Think will be done by X. X will think. What X will think? The person who is hating, that is Y, is crazy. So thinks crazy X comma Y. So this is the entire next term. This is equivalent to this. Are you getting this? Thinks that anyone who hates someone is crazy. So we had been discussing that how we are going to convert the statement into this statement into conjunctive normal form. And we had been seeing that first of all we have to convert the statement into predicate forms, and then the predicates step by step should be converted to close form, that is conjunctive normal form. So we have discussed over here that how this statement can be converted to this particular statement, that is predicate form itself. Now we are going to apply the steps one by one. The first step says that eliminate implication. Now see why we are going to apply these steps. Imagine that if you have to process this entire statement and prove something, apply backward chaining or apply forward chaining, it is going to be so difficult for you to process this, right? So what happens over here? Instead of using such a complicated statement, what can be done is you can convert this statement, flatten this statement, simplify this statement and convert it to the conjunctive normal form. Means simpler statement where you only have OR operations, different clauses with OR disjunctions. Then it will be very easy for you to process it, provide the proof, support the proof and prove something. Okay. So that's why we are going to convert. This is very complicated and proving it or using it as proof support is going to be very difficult. Hence, we are not going to use any such complicated statement, but then we are going to convert it to simpler ones, that is flatten one. So the first one says eliminate implication. So what is the rule for eliminating implication? The rule says if you have something like A implies B, it should be converted to not A or B. Remember it very well. If you say A implies B, then it should be converted to not A or B. So let us take one example. If I say for all X, let us say Roman X implies Pompeian X. Suppose this is the statement given to you. For all X, if X is Roman, then X is Pompeian also. Suppose it is the implication given to you. How you can convert it to this notation? So what you have to do is, see this quantifier remains same. What you are going to do, for not operation will be applied to the first term. That is not Roman X. Then what you are going to do, implication will be converted to OR operation. So OR, and this the remaining will be as it is. So Pompeian X. Okay. So this Roman implies Pompeian X will be converted to not Roman X or Pompeian X. So first step is we are going to eliminate the implication. Okay. What second step say? Second step says reduce scope of negation. Reduce scope of negation. So see, this one is the simpler one. So negation was directly applied to the left hand side single predicate available. But imagine that on left side you have multiple predicates separated by related with each other with OR operation, AND operation and so on. If it is complicated, then applying not to it is also going to be complicated. So what you have to do? Reduce the scope of not, so that not will be applied to all the predicates you have. So how you are going to apply this? For applying this, what you need to make sure is, suppose you have something like this, not is applied to not P, then it is going to be positive P. The first says, if you apply not operation to negated P, then it will be converted to positive P. This is the first thing. What the second thing says? Second thing says De Morgan's law. Now second what we are going to apply is called De Morgan's law. So what is De Morgan's law? If you apply not to A or B, A or B. If not is applied to A or B, that is going to be converted to equivalently. Not is applied to A also and B also, but or will be converted to AND. So this will be not A and not B. De Morgan's law says if not is applied to A or B, then it will be converted to not A and B, or will be converted to and or not will be applied to A and B both. The second part of De Morgan's law says if you apply not to A and B, if you are going to apply not to A and B, that is going to be equivalent of not will be applied to A also, not will be applied to B also, and will be converted to or exactly. So this will be not A or not B. Okay. So this is how you are going to reduce the scope of not operation. And the last thing that you need to do in the reducing not operations scope is that quantifier. If you have to apply not to for all x px, means not is applied to entire term, where not should be applied to the quantifier also. How you are going to treat it? So it says that if not is applied to the entire term along with quantifier, then for all will be converted to there exist, and then only not will be applied to px. So this will be converted to there exist x such that not px. Are you getting this? It is not necessary that when you apply not will be applied to the entire term, like we didn't apply it over here. But we'll see these kind of examples also. When that not is applied to the entire term statement, then the universal quantifier will be converted to existential quantifier, and then not will be applied to the term afterwards. The second part of this says if you have there exist, then it will be converted to there exist will be converted to for all, and now negation will be applied to the base term, so it will be not px. Are you getting this? So what we have done over here, there are three things that you need to make sure when not is going to be applied to the basic terms. The first is negation. Applied to negation is going to be positive term. Then De Morgan's law in two parts, that if you apply negation to A or B, the operation will convert to and not will be applied to A also and B also. Similarly, if you apply not operation to A and B, then it will be converted to not A or not B. Then if not is applied to the quantifiers, like if you are applying not to for all, that is a universal quantifier, it will be converted to existential quantifier, and then to the base term not is going to be applied, and similar applies to the existential quantifier also. So if we have to apply these both steps to the first statement that we have written over here, okay, we should be applying this first of all for our this statement. The first statement should have been applied, that we forgot to do. So here I am going to write this. If you apply the first step to the base statement, what is going to happen? So for all x, this is the first step I am applying. For all x, so this is the left hand side that I need to negate. So for all x, negate Roman x and nose x comma Marcus. Okay, so that is what I have done. I have negated. See, negation is not applied to base term. That is step 2. I have just taken the entire term as the first left hand side and negated it. Now implication should be converted to or. Then the entire right hand side will be written as it is in the bracket. So hates x comma Caesar, or again for all y there exists z such that hates y comma z. Okay, now see, again over here you are having implication, so these implication need to be eliminated once again. So what happens if you eliminate this implication? The left hand side should be negated, so this is negated and implication will be converted to or. What is right hand side? Thinks crazy x comma y. So I am closing over here two brackets. See, it's simple. What I have done over here, there are two implications that I have converted. The first implication is this. So not and the entire term that I have written over here, not is applied over here, and this is or operation for this implication. Now inside this bracket, once again, after writing height as it is in the right hand side, inside the bracket once again you have implication. So if we convert that, then again you have not operation over here, and this or indicates this implication. Simple. Are you getting this? Now once this is applied, what we have to do in sequence? We have to reduce the scope of not operation. So if we have to reduce the scope of not operation, here what happens? Not, see, in the first left hand side we have considered not to be applied on the entire term. So not should be applied to individual terms over here. So what will happen if I apply, see, for all x remains as it is. Now not will be applied in this bracket. So not Roman x and will be converted to or. So not Roman x or not nose x comma Marcus. Okay, so this not is applied to both the terms. It is done. Fine. Then what you have to do? Let us write for the understandability. This is or. Now hates as it is x comma Caesar, that is the first term, then or, that is the implication, the next or which we already had over here. Okay, so or what next we have here? This was for implication. What next we have over here? That for all y there exists z such that, see here negation is already applied to the base term only, so nothing need to be changed. So negation and hates y comma z or thinks crazy x comma y. Simple. So see what we have done over here, negation is applied to all the basic terms. Now what operations we have? Simple or operation, now again or operation, again or operation, or operation. So all these terms are in sequence with each other such that they are separated from each other using or operations only. Right? Okay. Now what we are going to do over here? So we had been discussing over here that how we can convert predicates to CNF form. So we had been discussing the steps and we had discussed two basic steps over here. Now we are going to discuss the third step. Now as we have to use this, I am going to solve it on a paper so we can take the reference of the first two steps we have already solved. Okay. So the third step says standardize variables. Standardize the variables. What is meaning of standardize the variables? So see, if suppose you are having something like this, for all x, px, or for all x, qx. So there are two different predicates which you are using, which gives different meaning, and you are using or operation between it, but you are using same variable. So you are trying to make confusion over here, ambiguity over here, which should not be done. And hence what can be done over here to eliminate the ambiguity? You should write it like for all x, px, or for all y, qy. So as now you are having two separate variables, there won't be any ambiguity over here. So what you need to do, standardize variables for all the predicates, different predicates which you are using, which are not related with each other. Means you are not passing information here. The same variable is used only when if you are passing the same information once again to the same predicate. If you are not passing the information over here, use the separate variable if it is independent. So that is called standardizing the variables. The next step says move all quantifiers. Move all quantifiers on left side of formula. Move all the quantifiers on left hand side of the formula, retaining its order. So what you need to do, retain the order and move it on the left hand side of the formula. So which all quantifiers we have over here? Let us observe this. Which all quantifiers we are having over here? We have for all x here, then for all y here, and there exists z. So see what we have to do, the entire term should be written, but for all x, for all y and there exists z, that should be written on the left hand side, leftmost side. So this is going to be converted as, this will be written as for all x, for all y, there exists z. In the same sequence, first of all you had for all x, then for all y and there exists z. So in same sequence I have written, then not Roman x, okay. So not Roman x or not nose x comma Marcus, okay. So this is what I have written as it is, okay. Or now see, there is no need of having multiple brackets. I can open the bracket now. Hates x comma Caesar, okay. So this is also done. Now again, or again I need not to provide bracket, I can write directly, and the quantifiers have been moved. So not, okay. Okay, so that is like hates, not hates y comma z, okay. And once again what we have, or what it is, thinks crazy x comma y. So thinks crazy x comma y, simple, okay. So see what I have done over here, all the quantifiers have been moved, all the brackets have been opened, and simple I have pasted it as it is. So this is how we are applying the fourth step, that you have to standardize all the operators you have. What is the next step? Next step is step number 5, and that says if you have any existential quantifier, eliminate existential quantifier. Now before we discuss that existential quantifier, there had been one correction that we have to make over here. The correction is, in this term, when we are applying not over here, the not is applied to entire term over here. So what happens over here, that we are talking about for all y, and then okay. So what we are doing over here, when we are negating these hits, then it is applied, let me highlight so it will be more clear. The negation is applied over here, negation is applied here. So this there exists z will be converted to for all z. Pardon this change. What happens over here, we are talking about all the y hating someone. So when you negate that, for all y is not going to be negated, but there exists z, negation will be applied over here. Are you getting why? Because you are talking about hating to say specific person. So negation will be involving there exists over here, and in turn what will happen, this for all z, there exists z, as rule number 4 of negation, applying negation to inner scope, there exists z will be converted to for all z, and hence when you will be moving it over here, it will be for all z over here. Are you getting? Let me repeat once again what happens. Whenever you are going to eliminate this implication, negation will be applied here. For this term, negation will be applied. Negation will not be applied over here. Why? Because the y variable is talking about all person hating, and the specific z they are going to hate, and hence negation will be applied to the specific person, not for all the persons. So if you apply negation on there exists z, it is going to be for all z. So negation applied over here is converted to for all z. So ultimately we have taken them back to the left hand side, and hence we are going to get this. Okay. Now what we have to do, eliminate existential quantifiers. So when we are going to eliminate existential quantifiers, what we have to do, there are two things which we have to do for eliminating existential quantifiers. The first possibility over here is, for example, you have something like this. There exists y such that y is prime minister. Okay, suppose this is the case. There exists y such that y is prime minister. So see, the value of y is not dependent on anything. In this case, the value of y is going to be constant, the name of the Prime Minister. So what you can do over here is, you can consider over here Prime Minister S1, where this S1 is a function, which function is going to return you name of Prime Minister. Are you getting this? Prime Minister Y will be converted to, means when you eliminate this, it will be converted to this, where you are using over here S1, which is the name of a function. You are actually invoking a function S1, and this function S1 is going to return you one name, specific name, which is the name of Prime Minister. Here, as your Y is not dependent on anything else, this is called Skolem constant. This is called Skolem constant because the value of S1 is not dependent on anyone, it is a specific value. But imagine you have something like this: for all x there exists y such that father of y comma x, means x is father of y, x is father of y. So the value of x depends on the value of y. The value of x depends on the value of y. Sorry, the value of y depends on the value of x. In that x, so what you have to do, if you want to eliminate there exists y over here, then the value of x is important, because based on the value of x, it is going to decide the value of y. So what you have to do over here, for all x, father of. Now the existential quantifier is eliminated, but how you are going to get this value? Instead of y, now you are going to write it like S1 in bracket x, and x over here is as it is. So for all x, for the specific value of x, the value of y is going to be retrieved by a function once again. But as the value of y depends on the value of x, now I cannot use over here constant, which is going to provide you direct value. But now over here what you are using is a function which will take argument. Are you getting the difference over here? So what happens over here? Once again, this is a function, but the value of this function will be returned based on the value of this variable x, and hence this is called Skolem function. Okay, so what is difference between Skolem constant and Skolem function? In Skolem constant, the variable, there exists variable is not dependent on any other variable, and hence directly without argument it can be used. So it is Skolem constant. But what happens over here? So what we had been discussing over here, we had been discussing that we are supposed to eliminate existential quantifiers. So what happens over here, that if your variable with which you have used existential quantifier is independent variable, in that case it is not dependent on any other variable. In that case, simply you can use Skolem constant, such that this Skolem constant is nothing but a function which will return you a constant value. Okay, so that constant value is the name of, in this example it will be the name of the Prime Minister, and hence instead of using there exists y, we can directly use it with a Skolem constant. We can assume, see over here we are not going to create any function, we'll just assume S1 is some function, and it will be later returning you some value. Now we have taken the second example of for all x there exists y such that y is father of x. Okay, so the value of y over here depends on the value of x. So you cannot use Skolem constant here. Why? Because the value of y will be calculated based on what is the value of x. So you have to use a kind of a function which will take x as argument. So what we have done, for all x father of, so S1x I am passing s as an argument. So let us say father of Rohan, so Rohan is passed over here as argument, so x equal to Rohan, then we'll get, let us say Suresh is the name of the father. If I'll pass x equal to John, then I'll get, let us say Tommy is the name of the father. So different name of the father will be generated based on the different name of the child you are going to supply over here. So the function which we used over here is now taking argument, and hence it is called Skolem function. So see, many times there is a definition asked, what is Skolem constant, what is Skolem function. So it should be very clear now what is Skolem function and what is Skolem constant over here. Okay, now what we are going to discuss is the next step, and what next step says that you have to, let us see it over here again next. So what we have to do over here as the next step, that is step number 6 is drop all the prefixes. Drop all prefixes. So by dropping all prefix, what we mean, that all quantifiers we have used, whether it is for all x, for all y, whatever we have to drop them. Okay, so if we are going to apply to the base term we had over here, so this is what we had over here earlier. This is not going to be applied here because already we are having over here only universal quantifier. Existential quantifier was not here. So if we apply the next step, what we have to do here, eliminate, drop all the prefixes. So when we are going to drop all the prefixes, so this is going to be dropped. So what is remaining when we apply this step? When we are dropping all the prefixes, not Roman X, or not knows X, Marcus, or hates X, Caesar. Okay, everything else is as it is, only the prefix is going to be dropped. Or not hates Y, Z, or thinks crazy X, Y. Simple. So the next step that we have discussed, the sixth step we have discussed. So we had been discussing over here that all the prefixes should be dropped. So if we drop all the prefixes out of this, then what we are going to get is this. Now on this we are going to, so we had been discussing over here that when we are going to drop the prefixes, this is what we are going to get. So we are going to apply the next step, that is 7th step. 7th step says convert. Okay, 7th step says that all the conjunction should be convert matrix. So what is matrix over here? The entire statement. Convert the matrix into conjunction of disjunctions. Okay, so what we are trying to say over here, that the base operation which we are going to use is disjunction. So convert the matrix into conjunction of disjunction. So if you have two predicates, then if you have between the, if I write A and B, then in this step A will be separated and B will be separated. So A and B will be written as two separate clauses over here. If you have AND operation between two predicates, you can separate it. You can write it separately. If you have AND operator, write it separately. But if you have OR operator, in that case, what you have to do is multiple AND and OR operator are available. In that case, you have to convert that to conjunction of disjunctions. So how this is going to apply? That is because of the associative property we have to discuss over here. So how associative property will be applied over here? Let us discuss that. So if you have something like this, A or B or C, it should be converted to A or B, and then OR. A again is ORed with C. So A or C. Are you getting this? Okay, so this is called associative property. Now, if you have something like this, A and B, and that is ORed with C, so this should be converted as, first of all, A will be ORed with C. So A or C and B or C. Now see, there is AND between that. So like we did over here, whenever you have AND between two predicates, what you have to do? You have to separate them. So this will be converted to A or C as the first predicate, and the second will be B or C, second predicate. Are you getting this? So whenever you have conjunction between disjunctions, these disjunctions are different predicates and they will be separated. So wherever you have AND operation will be terminating the predicate and separate predicates will be created. Are you getting this? So convert matrix into conjunction of disjunctions. Why? So whenever we have conjunction, we can separate and make simpler predicates. In place of having an entire complicated predicate, we will divide it into simpler predicates. That is possible only when you have conjunction of disjunction, and hence it is called conjunctive normal form, CNF form. Are you getting this? Now see, before we move ahead, I forgot to tell you something, that when you are going to drop all the prefixes, this particular formula over here is called the fourth step, that when all the quantifiers are moved at one place over here, this particular step, it is also called prenex normal form. So here it is also called prenex normal form. So conjunctive, this is the previous step of conjunctive normal form. So that is called prenex form. When it is prenex normal form, whenever all the quantifiers are on leftmost side, then that particular statement is called to be in prenex normal form. So this particular statement is called prenex normal form. Coming back to what we had been discussing, how we are going to convert matrix into conjunction of disjunctions. First you have to observe, do you have any AND operation? See, in our case AND operation is not present, so we are not going to apply anything. But if AND operation was present, then somehow distributive or associative property we have to apply and convert it to appropriate statements. Are you getting what I am trying to explain over here? Okay, fine. So this is how we are going to apply. In our case it won't be applicable because conjunction is not there, all the disjunctions only are there. If you had conjunction, then you would have applied distribution or associative property and converted it to conjunction of disjunctions. Okay. The eighth step says create separate clause for all conjunctions. So that is what we have said over here, that is discussed here. In 7th it says only that you have to convert matrix to conjunction of disjunctions. So if you have A and B, then it will be working fine as A and B, and in the 8th step if you have A and B, it will be converted as A and B separated. Okay, so what it said, separate clauses for conjunction should be created. So what happens over here, that if you are having this, for example this, that A or C and B or C, that is the output of step number 7. In that case what you are going to do, create separate clause for all conjunction. How many conjunction you have? Single. So as many conjunction you have, that many discontinuation you are going to have. So separate the clauses. This clause is separate, this clause is separate. So this will be converted as, the first one is A or C and the second one is B or C. So the first step is apply associative and distributive properties such that you will have all the disjunction as the clauses and they are having conjunction in between. After applying that, what you have to do as the 8th step, all those disjunction which are joined with conjunction, they should be separated. So all the disjunction who are joined with conjunction should be considered as separate clauses over here. And the final 9th step says standardize apart the variables. Once again, standardize apart the variables means when you have something like this, once again you have to check that if you have something like for all x, px and qx, this kind of statement you are having, then separate the quantifier for both the predicates and talk it about something like for all x, px and this is and for all x, qx, so that later these both can be separated because you have conjunction between them. Are you getting this? So this is called standardize apart the variables. Once again what you have to do is, whatever variable is having quantifier, that quantifier should be separated. Earlier we had quantifier, now we are going to separate it. Okay, so this is not going to apply in most of the cases because quantifiers are already dropped. So what we are trying to say over here is, once again, whatever variables you are using, if they are dependent on a dependent variable where you have to pass the value, then the same variable name should be used. But if the predicate is not passing any value and it is independent, then you are not going to use the same variable, but separate variables should be used. That's it. So these are the 9 steps that can be applied for converting the predicates to conjunctive normal form. Based on this, we are going to solve some 5-6 examples. So applying this step will be very clear. Mostly you are going to apply the steps up to step number 8 only. So we'll also discuss with the examples that which all steps you are going to apply, which all steps you are not going to apply mostly. So that's all. Before we discuss examples, please do refer to all the steps we have discussed over here clearly, so that understanding example will be very easy for you. Stay healthy and happy. You are soon going to have your exams. All the best for exams, and whatever queries or doubts you get, please drop your queries or doubts in whatever form you are comfortable with. Thank you.